Yeah, let me just quickly introduce you to my
Yeah.
family. Let's just get it done with, okay? Quickly, honey. Let's just get it out of the way.
Hey, hi Shikhar.
Hi guys, how are you?
Good, very good.
Have a great video.
All right, out. Very cheeky, eh? Very cheeky. All right, come on, out.
Come on.
It's fine. It'll be great to have him make those
that is literally my life, so I'm not going to. I live with 2 boys, so guys, you know, you must understand this.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm the only female in my house. The chef is a boy, the helper is a boy, the driver, everyone's a boy. So I'm doing a great job. But yeah, that's what I deal with. And it's so good to see so many people. Thank you, Amit, and everyone who has actually organized this, because it's really, really such a massive effort in such short time. So everyone and all the school, the DG, everybody, thank you so much. And Sharat, the
of the hour, you know, what we guys are thinking of doing right now. I'm sure that most of the parents like us, they feel the need. We're trying to discuss with them, learn from them, and maybe come up with an interesting solution which can help us in building the future.
And the good thing is, like, I've had to apply it myself. You know, I've got Zarava, who I've actually shifted from Australia to India. I've tried to do the whole, you know, blending into the Indian culture, and then COVID happened. So I was like, okay, plan B. So I've had to sort of, you know, really, and it's worked. It's doing well. So, you know, it's a good thing.
I think now we have quorum. It's 3 o'clock, the designated time, and I welcome everyone who's a part of this Zoom call. My name is Sharad. I host a show on Fever 104 FM. In fact, I host 2 shows. One is called Bharat Positive. The other one is called Soul Yatra. तो आज बड़ा स्पेशल दिन है क्योंकि बड़े समय से मैं ये सोच रहा था कि कुछ ऐसा काम किया जाए ताकि ये जो पॉजिटिविटी है ये स्कूलों तक पहुंचे, स्कूलों में जो पॉजिटिव काम हो उसके साथ मैं शरीक हो सकूं। ये मन में इच्छा थी जब से मैं होस्ट कर रहा था शोज में, और जब इसको थोड़ा आगे लेके जाने लगा तब मेरी मुलाकात मानव रचना टीम से हुई, निंद्या साकेत मैम से हुई जो इस कॉल में है, और तब मुझे लगा कि जितने स्कूल से मैं मिलता आया हूँ मानव रचना स्कूल मुझे थोड़ा अलग लगा। मुझे ज्यादा पॉजिटिविटी लगी, मुझे पढ़ाने के तरीके में एक बहुत प्रैक्टिकलिटी दिखी, एंड फॉर अ वांट ऑफ अ बेटर वर्ड मुझे इस पूरे प्रोसेस में रिस्पेक्ट और प्यार दिखा। तो उस चीज ने मेरे को अपनी इस स्कूल की तरफ खींचा, और हमने मानव रचना के साथ कई इनिशिएटिव्स किए, जो भारत पॉजिटिव इनिशिएटिव्स हम करते थे। तो यू नो आई वुड मेक इट अ पॉइंट टू इन्वॉल्व मानव रचना इन दिस, और ये हर वक्त मैं सोचता था कि ये जो एक अलग सा माहौल है मानव रचना में, इसका रीजन क्या है, who is the person behind this, what is the thought and philosophy। और फिर कुछ ऐसा सिचुएशन बनी, एक दिन मैंने निंद्या जी को कहा कि यू नो मेरी इच्छा है कि अमित जी का इंटरव्यू मैं करूं, क्योंकि वो अक्सर बड़े ही प्यार से अमित जी का नाम लेती थी और बहुत रिस्पेक्टफुली लेती थी। मैंने कहा कि एक काम करता हूं, भारत पॉजिटिव शो में अमित जी को लेना चाहिए, and that's when I interviewed Amit, and ये तकरीबन एक close to about a month back, and तब जब अमित जी से मेरी बातचीत हुई, I was just amazed by the humbleness of Amit. He came across as such an humble, wise man. हम मेरे शो में बहुत पॉजिटिव लोग आते हैं, वो इस शो का फॉर्मेट ही ऐसा है, लेकिन अमित वाज वेरी डिफरेंट। बहुत वाइज थे, बहुत इंटेलिजेंट थे, और सबसे बड़ी बात यह है कि इतने बड़े ओहदे पे बैठ के ये कहना कि मेरा जो पूरा प्रोसेस है वो पार्टिसिपेटिव है, मैं सबके साथ मिलके काम करता हूँ. Whatever I have been able to achieve is because of my father's vision and because of my teachers. I still get goosebumps when I think about that interview that Amit gave me, because there was so much authenticity in what he was saying. और ये authenticity की ही तलाश मुझे यहाँ तक लेके आई थी कि सिर्फ पॉजिटिव काम प्रेजेंटेशंस में ना हो, एक्चुअल हो. और वो मुझे वो दिखा जब मैंने अमित जी से वो संवाद किया, और फिर मन में इच्छा हुई कि अब ये जो जर्नी चल रही है मानव रचना में, जो पॉजिटिविटी की इतनी जो लूट चल रही है, इसमें हमें भी शरीक होना पड़ेगा. तो वहीं से मन में बहुत तीव्र इच्छा हुई कि अब काम मिलके करना है, ये काम अकेले नहीं करेंगे, साथ मिलके करेंगे. और फिर वो कहते हैं कि ऊपर वाला जब आप सोचते हो तो एक रास्ता निकाल देता है. और उसके बाद आयशा जी से मुलाकात हुई, और फिर आज ये संभव हो पा रहा है, ये जूम कॉल. तो आई वुड लाइक टू रियली थैंक अमित जी फॉर मेकिंग दिस हैपन, फॉर being kind enough to discuss and give this idea a chance. So that I would want to thank Amit ji. निंदिया जी, मैं तो सारी जिंदगी आपको थैंक करूंगा because it all started with you. So that is something that I'll always do that. And Aisha ji, I think you are a very different, you bring a different world. आप एक अलग ही दुनिया से आती हो, और इस दुनिया की खासियत ये है कि ये दुनिया हमें खुद को इवैल्यूएट करने पे मजबूर करती है कि हम जिस तरीके से अपनी जिंदगी जी रहे हैं, क्या एक अलग तरीका है जीने का. हम जिस तरीके से बच्चों को रेस करते हैं, पेरेंट करते हैं, क्या एक तरीका है करने का. तो ये इस वक्त मेरे इमोशंस हैं, and I thought that I should put it out on the table, that there is a lot of happiness and gratitude to all three of you, and to my entire team who has been working on this, Aniket, Rahul, Rachit, and Tripti, selflessly working on it. It is not their KRA to do this. They don't need to come on a Saturday to do this, but they are doing it because it gives them joy and happiness. क्योंकि ये पॉजिटिविटी की लत ही ऐसी चीज है. It's way more contagious than corona and any other effect. So without much ado, I would want Amit ji to just take us through this journey. Why is he so passionate about parenting? Why does he feel that it's very important that we work and collaborate with parents? And what is the future of parenting, schooling, and education? Amit ji.
Thank you. First of all, thank you, Sharad, for talking your heart, that we connected, what we did. So, and of course, Aisha, thanks for being here. My first learning to be a parent started when I was blessed by my son. So every morning, every evening was like something new. Every incident was new, and fortunately, unfortunately, there is no school for parenting where you can go, you can learn. So, and there's always a generation gap. You start from what your child should eat, what your child should wear. You will find the differences in your home. The grandma will talk about something else, your mom will talk about something else, your wife's mom will talk about something else, and you want to do something else, and Google will advise you for something else. So I'm sure that most of us who are present here, we have seen and went through all this with us, whether it is, what milk to buy, what diaper to buy, how to carry a child, at what is the right age to travel with a child, anything and everything. Even, when a child is not sleeping at the night. This is the first initial phases of child's life. Then when child starts going to the school, you start comparing your child with the neighbor's son or daughter. He's writing so well and my son is not writing, or my daughter is not writing. And whereas, we sometimes we miss on seeing the positives of our kids, and we sometimes start comparing. So, and daily incidents in your house, like your child demands something for you, that I want to eat this, and you don't know how to make it. I was sharing this with Aisha last time. You don't know how to make it. You call up your mom and she makes something interesting, cooks it, sends your driver, and you pick it. And finally, when that good thing comes at home, the child says, I don't want to eat it. So these are few things which happen, I think, quite frequently in all of our respective homes. So how do you handle that situation? As a father, you react differently. As a mother, you react differently. But at the end of the day, both of you are parents. So why there is this difference of reaction? Why
Mm.
there is difference of changing the things way it come? How do you see a same situation arising at home with maybe your son? You react differently. When it comes with your daughter, you react differently to it. So I'm sure that everybody who is listening, who is part of this, you will appreciate that this happens. ये सब हमारे घरों में almost हर एक दिन के बाद होता है. And in particular, this time of COVID, where all of us got an opportunity to be with our family and spend more time, understand ourselves better. We got some time to reflect upon. So मुझे ये need और ज़्यादा दिखाई दी. मुझे लगा that the way I was talking to my son maybe four months back, and today the way I speak with him, there's a difference. So I have also started understanding that yes, if he is making a point, it carries a value. It's not that you just sit and listen to what I'm saying to you. Whereas, so I thought that why not we start up a journey of learning together, because as a parent, each one of us have an experience. Whether when we were kids, we also have that experience how our parents groomed us and made us what we are today. And we also see it how we are delivering it to our students or to our kids at home. And there are different stakeholders in building this future of this country. The first stakeholder is definitely a parent, and second is school, and then you have society. So all these things go hand in hand and are interconnected. और हर एक का अपना अपना नजरिया, हर एक का अपना अपना रोल है. And there is no one set formula which is like where you just pick up that recipe and you go ahead with that, because every child is unique. So you need to have a different recipe and a different process with every child, but you need to have that skill set of identifying that what is best for that particular child's growth, or what is your competence, what you can deliver, what you can do. So we thought that let's put up a group of few parents where we interact with them, then we take a feedback on what all we are thinking to do. Like maybe a school of parenting by the parents for the parents, and it should be driven by the parents, because any and every experience or a situation you see and you can share with the other one. So that was all about my learning. So today I have two gurus, and who have made me a parent. One is my son Shaurya, and one is my daughter. So they are my teachers, they are my guru. And any and every situation, whatever comes in life, and so they have evolved us. So the day a child is born in a family, he gives birth to a father, to a mother, to a dada, to a dadi, to a nana, to a nani. Somebody becomes a chacha, someone becomes a chachi, someone becomes a taya, and so a lot of relationships are grown. It straight away gets you a new PD of relations. So they are the people, they are the kid, they are the future of this great country. And we have to be groomed, we have to be trained, we have to learn more how to be efficient and effective and a happy parent. So the outline is happy parents. So parenting रो के भी पढ़ाया जा सकता है, रो के भी बच्चे बड़े हो सकते हैं, अगर हंसते खेलते बड़े हो जाए तो उसका मजा अलग होता है. So that is just one thought on parenting, and glad that we connected, and we shared some good common thoughts on parenting. Had some discussions with Aisha, had some discussions with Sharat, and of course my all principals, my all teachers, everyone across Manavashna schools, they breathe the same value system. And they try to bring in this and share it with the new teachers, with the new parents who are coming in. So this was just an idea of maybe thinking about a school for parenting, wherein we can have parents as a resource, where we can have even our kids as a resource, who can guide us, who can tell us that what are we doing, whether it is right or it is not right. So this was just something which is coming out of heart, and want to work towards building better parents, being a better parent myself, and learn from each and everyone who's there. That's all, Sharon.
Fantastic! Wow, fantastic. That is really really so insightful, Amit, because there are people who say and there are people who do, and I see that in you, and the biggest testimony is your teachers, are the students, and I've very closely interacted. So I think what you're walking the talk, and the results are there to see. I've never seen a more empowered school. I've never seen a more happy school. And of course, happiness is a relative term. हर school में कुछ ना कुछ दुख और सुख का combination होता है. लेकिन it's about how relatively happy a school is. And I have to tell you, Amit, that of all the schools that I've seen around, Manav Rachna group of schools are definitely happier than the others. And the beauty is that you're not stopping at that. So so this is really amazing. Also to the audience, I would like to introduce Aisha. अमित जी ने आयशा के बारे में बताया. देखिए क्या होता है कि जब आप हिंदुस्तान में एक क्रिकेटर की वाइफ होती हो, तब तो फिर आपका स्टेचर ही कुछ अलग हो जाता है. Because just like the cricketers, you're also worshipped, and whatever you say is taken as God's gospel. And वो चीजें अक्सर आपके दिमाग पे भी चढ़ जाती हैं. आप वो खुमारी थोड़ी आप पे भी सवार हो जाती है कि हाँ मैं कुछ हूँ. और ऐसे में when you meet someone who's very humble, down to earth, and has got a mind of her own, so it comes as a very pleasant surprise. In my body of work, हमारा काम ऐसा है that we interact with public figures day in day out. तो एक आइडिया लग जाता है कि किस किस्म के लोगों को एक्सपेक्ट करना है. व्हाट डू यू एक्सपेक्ट? बट व्हेन आई मेट आयशा, आई वाज जस्ट ब्लोन ओवर. क्योंकि एक तो ये जब इनको देखते हैं तो लगता है हाँ ये ऑस्ट्रेलिया की हैं, ये वेस्टर्न थिंकिंग की होंगी. एक छवि सी बनती है व्हेन यू सी समवन, एंड व्हेन यू स्टार्ट टॉकिंग टू हर, यू रियलाइज दैट वो हमारे कल्चर को हमसे ज्यादा समझती है, इंडियन कल्चर को हमसे ज्यादा समझती है. पिता बंगाली, माँ ऑस्ट्रेलियन, परवरिश ऑस्ट्रेलिया में हुई, और दिल जो है वो आधा हिंदुस्तानी है और आधा इंटरनेशनल है. यानी कि जहां हिंदुस्तानी होना चाहिए वहां हिंदुस्तानी है, और जहां इंटरनेशनल या ब्रॉड सोच होनी चाहिए, एक वर्ल्ड थिंकिंग होनी चाहिए, वो भी है. उसका एक कॉम्बिनेशन है आयशा. और मैं आपको बस इतना कहना चाहता हूं कि एज अ पेरेंट मैंने आयशा से पिछले 3 हफ्तों से इंटरेक्ट करना शुरू किया, और मैंने कम से कम 10 चीजें एज अ पेरेंट चेंज कर दी है मायरा की परवरिश में, इनसे बात करके, और उसके रिजल्ट्स मेरे को आना शुरू हो गए. तो इससे ज्यादा मैं और कुछ नहीं कहूंगा. अभी शुरुआत में तो हम ये कहेंगे, इनसे जब मिलेंगे कहेंगे ये शिखर धवन की धर्म पत्नी है. लेकिन जब आप इनको अच्छी तरीके से जान जाएंगे तो आप में से कई लोग कहोगे कि शिखर जो है वो आयशा के पति है. Because she's got an identity of her own, a very different mind.
I hope you're recording this, okay?
जरा भाई को कहना बाहर चले जाए. So आयशा की जर्नी, आयशा को अगर हमने घोल के पी लिया एज पेरेंट्स, we will learn something very very different. क्योंकि हमारी जो अपब्रिंगिंग है वो हमारी सोच को छोटा कर देती है. ये रियलिटी है. आप हिंदुस्तान में पले बड़े हो तो आपकी कुछ चीजें तो अच्छी होंगी, लेकिन कुछ चीजों को आपके बारे में आइडिया ही नहीं होगा. उसका एक जरा सी झलक मिलती है जब हम ट्रैवल करते हैं बाहर. तो लोग कहते हैं ट्रैवल करते हैं तो दिमाग खुल जाता है, क्योंकि हमारी थिंकिंग चेंज हो जाती है. तो आज आयशा के साथ हम एक डिफरेंट ट्रैवल पे निकलेंगे, तो वो बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग होगा. अमित जी, मेरी आपसे एक रिक्वेस्ट होगी, जब आयशा अपना टॉक शुरू करेंगे तो जैसे हम और आपने वो एक कॉन्वर्जेशन की थी आयशा से, बीच में हमने रोक के एक सवाल पूछ लिया कि इसके बारे में ये क्यों आप ऐसा कहते हो, लेट अस कीप इट फ्री फ्लोइंग, तो वो बहुत नेचुरल लगेगा। और आयशा, वो बीच बीच में हम आपको, वी विल कीप इंटरप्टिंग यू, टोकते रहेंगे, तो प्लीज stay with us.
Done.
So Aisha, over to you. We are all waiting to hear from you.
Thank you, Sharath, and thank you, Amit. I just wanted to actually first say a massive thank you to Sharath, because we actually met each other very simultaneously and we connected straight away. And I was very shocked because I thought, wow, my ideas, my concept, my thinking is very out of the box. Who is going to take that on in India? So in my past experience, it was I didn't have a person that I could relate to in that reference, especially in regards to parenting. And Sharath just took it on and I was amazed. Then Sharath introduces me to Amit. And, my basic concept is that your family home, your family structure, your parents, if you live in a joint family, they have such a massive influence on you, especially those first 7 years. They program you, they condition you, they set belief systems, from what you eat to how you dress, everything is done. And so I understand how impactful a family setting is, how impactful family members are. And the beauty of Amit's school is, as I got to know more and more about it, was that he applies that principle within his school structure. And imagine how powerful it is to have a home structure that actually works together with the school structure, and they have the same thinking, value system, the concepts, the beliefs. You will actually create such an empowering environment for the future generation. This is why, honestly, I got so excited about it, because speaking to someone just because it's something I want to do is one thing, but speaking to someone that completely understands what this is all about, completely has the same value system and everything, is a totally different realm on its own. So the energy that got created between the three of us has been amazing. And the great thing is that we all have a clear direction. We all want the best for our students, best for our kids, future generations. Even as parents, even today, every day I grow, and all of us are also in that parenting school that, it's not just to now teach my kids, it's actually how do I keep growing? How do I keep up this momentum? What else can I learn? And that's what a true parenting coach should do. A true school, an institution should always do is, how can I grow? It should never be about, just teaching and telling others what to do. It's about how do I keep growing? And this is where I felt Sharath, I and Amit have really connected, because we're always discussing about our own growth and our own, the future of our vision. And in order for us to get there, it's all about us improving. So a massive thank you, because, that's been such an eye-opener for me, coming from Australia, thinking that I would not find people, accepting of my ways. I'm a little bit more, in your face, and I'm very direct with what I have to say. So it was really good to see that, there is people here that are willing to, take on that change, willing to open up for that kind of, implementation within our families and also in our schooling system. So massive thank you, Sharath, for introducing us. And Amit, thank you so much for actually being who you are. And also your dad, your dad had this vision. I mean, he was way ahead of his time, to even see that, and that you actually have taken that on. Thank you. It's such a great cause for this country, honestly, because that's what I'm all about, is to actually create future leaders, not followers. So thank you so much. So I'll quickly tell you a little bit about myself. For those who don't know me, my name's Aesha Dhawan. I am 43 years young, and I have 3 amazing kids, okay? So I had my first kid when I was only 21 years of age. Now, I'm talking to you about being a parent and, parenting school and all that stuff, but understand that when I became a parent, I didn't even know that a child needed to drink milk every 2 hours. I mean, that was my starting point. So I had no idea, no concept. However, what I learned very quickly was how dependent that little being was on me. So if it was hungry, it's only if I fed it that it got fed. You know, if it was dirty, it's only because I changed it that it got cleaned. So very quickly, as I started watching my child, I understood the impact I have, the responsibility I have, and what that means. You know, I really understood how big of a responsibility it is to be a parent. And I was very carefree before that. I was a very spirited girl. I lived with, you know, my heart and everything. But once I had my daughter, like Ahmed said, I really learned what it was to be a parent. I really learned what it was to be, you know, responsible. And I started learning from her. So I started growing myself then. I thought, okay, this little being is so dependent on me. So now what I become is truly going to be a massive influence in her life. And I literally started making change according to that. I took the Indian culture. My dad's a very staunch Bengali and my mum's a, you know, free-hearted British woman. And I took both aspects of their upbringing and I sort of created my own. So my dad, you know, always talked about meditation and prayer and everything. And, you know, I continued that. However, my mum was a woman that allowed for freedom of speech. You speak your mind, you know, you stand up for, you know, what you want. So even within my own family, I actually had to balance the, you know, the Indian cultural side that my dad expected me just to listen to him, do what he wanted me to do. And my mum, who is very open and expressive, challenging him. And so I'm seeing that as well. So I was sort of stuck in the middle thinking, God, you know, which way do I go? But then eventually I worked out that I can do the things that my dad is suggesting me if I want to, but if I don't want to, I can also oppose him, but in a respectful manner. And that is the balance I got from both the cultures. Also another thing,
बंगाली आती है? बंगाली आपने सीखी?
হ্যাঁ একদম আসে আমার বাংলা আমি বলতে পারি ভালো করে
अरे वाह!
uh, so I can speak, but Hindi is not that good, but I can understand Hindi. But yeah, so they were the benefits of having a parent that was sort of like had the cultural settings of, and my dad also, his background, they have an ashram in Kolkata. Actually, I was born in Kolkata. They have an ashram there, so I've been raised in sort of that kind of atmosphere. And then I have my mum, who's very strong, independent British woman, you know, having that. So I formed my own little way of being between the two. Another thing, Amit, that I really, really commend your school for is that they put so much input into sporting, because when I went to Australia, I was a very timid girl. Now, this is the other thing too, like being raised in India, I realized that I was such a timid girl going from here to Australia. So that transition, when I went there, I found that, you know, didn't have a voice. I was shy. I didn't have confidence. But the thing that actually first got me into being very confident speaking, you know, holding myself up, was actually getting really good at sports. So, you know, a lot of females do not understand this, that sports is such an integral part of being confident. And especially those early years. Basically, a boy and a girl to about 12 years of age, physically very similar. Strength-wise, capability-wise, are very, very similar. And the only thing they sort of challenge each other on is the physical. And it's very important that a school or a family, a parent, encourages sports in kids, boys or girls. It shouldn't be a gender-based thing. You should, especially team sports, they learn, you know, so much about being a part of a team. You can't let them down. You know, you pick up for someone who's not actually being able to do something today. So I knew the way I built my confidence that I actually started playing cricket in school, because I used to notice that, wow, you know, these guys are confident. And so I started actually dabbling in sports and I became very good at sports, and I know the feeling and the confidence it gave me. So that was a thing that I took from the Aussie culture. was that I was so good at sports and it made me confident. Now, the other thing I took from the Indian culture was my dad being typical Bengali man. No, no, no to everything, right? It was literally, you can't look left. Okay, no, you can't look right. So I was, you know, he was so protective and all he wanted me to do was study. And, you know, listening to no so many times, you know, I used to feel embarrassed. I used to feel shy. I used to hate it at times. But I'll tell you one thing, what it also gave me. It came to a point in my life where I was so comfortable in saying no that also gave me courage. That I never, ever succumbed to peer pressure. I always was okay to say no. I owned it. So it was like I was learning lessons from both sides of the fence. So my mum's side and my dad's side. And it was amazing because it was creating this individual who was actually finding herself and finding strength from both sides. So there was times I would go, no, I'm not going to do it that way. But I was actually taking the good from both sides. Now, when I became a mum, I started to remember back to my childhood and I thought, okay, what was it that made me, you know, be confident? What was it that sort of grew me? And I applied those lessons to my own children. And remember, people think that lessons only come in positive aspects, but they don't. They come in challenging ways as well. And they're just as important. So this is very important. We don't want to create a culture in parenting where we think it's got to be perfect parenting. It is not perfect parenting. It's about authentic parenting. Authentic parenting is all about being real. It's not, you know, feeling one thing and then doing something else. Your kid will also learn to do that. Authentic parenting is like being okay to sometimes put your child in a situation that's challenging because it's the best thing for your child. Being okay to say no, even if it means you're going to upset your child. Because a lot of the time, authentic parenting doesn't happen because we're either parenting out of guilt, out of comparison, trying to be a good parent. So then you're not being real and you're teaching your child to also not be real. So I learned that when I sort of analyzed my own upbringing, it was only when I got strength when I was being parented from an authentic place. So I implemented this in my own children as well.
Aisha, when you say this, ये थोड़ा सा आप और explain कर सकोगे? When you say authentic parent,
yeah,
because we all feel that we are authentic parents. We all feel that, you know, we love our children in a very real way. But where do you see, from an Indian standpoint, we sometimes lose the authenticity? Because आपने तो बड़े करीब से हमारे parenting को observe किया होगा और आपने आपके पिताजी और माताजी दोनों की parenting का style देखा होगा. So where do we lose that authenticity?
Okay, so I'll give you an example. I never tried to paint a picture to my children that I was perfect. So I showed my kids my vulnerability. I spoke to them about my mistakes. When I didn't feel like doing something, and even if they wanted me to do it, I said no. Because I wanted them to have a real relationship with me. See, when I spoke to actually Shikhar about, like, you know, we were speaking about what are the special things between our mums, why I love my mum, why he loves his mum. And so when he was speaking, it was about my mum used to cook for me at 3 a.m. when I used to come at home. My mum did this for me. My mum did that for me, right? And then I questioned him. I said, what if your mum didn't do those things? What if she was tired and she said no to you? Do you love her any less? Right? So it's like you are loving someone because they're doing something for you. What about loving them for who they are authentically? And what also happens when you become an authentic parent, they have relationships with authentic people and they expect people not to be perfect. Now, if I set a standard of being a mum, being perfect, that I do everything right for you, I say yes to you all the time, I'm there every time you call me, I save you every time you're in trouble, you know, I have set an unrealistic example for anyone else coming into that life. So authenticity means you be who you are. You are loved and honored and accepted for who you are. All of you, your goodness, your mistakes, your vulnerability, everything. And that's how you should have a relationship in your house. So that, you know, I'm not only loving my child when she's doing good stuff, I'm making space for her to even have failures. She will also give me space for me having failures. That's authentic parenting. It's not just saying yes, yes, no, because then you're only being liked for when you're pleasing someone. So that's what I consider authentic parenting.
Wow, interesting. Because अक्सर हमारे हम जब पेरेंट करते हैं तो you know we tell our children कि देखो बेटा हमने तो बड़े छोटे उससे शुरू की थी और आज हम यहाँ पहुंचे हैं, हमने बहुत मेहनत की है. So the good parts of your struggle you definitely talk about, but you try and avoid the fact कि बेटा कई बार झूठ भी बोल दिया, बेटा कई बार डर भी जाता था. ये जो vulnerability है जो हर इंसान की जर्नी में होती है, वो अक्सर हम इसलिए छुपा देते हैं, not with a bad intent, but कि बच्चे को पॉजिटिव ही दो, पॉजिटिव खुराक ही दो, उसको क्यों वो बात बताना. लेकिन आपने जो बात कही ये बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग है, क्योंकि जिस वर्ल्ड में वो जाएगा फ्रॉम द फैमिली, इट इज गोइंग टू बी रियल, इट इज नॉट गोइंग टू बी परफेक्ट. तो उसकी गर्लफ्रेंड परफेक्ट नहीं होगी, उसकी वाइफ परफेक्ट नहीं होगी, उसका बॉस परफेक्ट नहीं होगा, उसकी पूरी दुनिया इम्परफेक्शन से होगी, तो वो फिट नहीं कर पाएगा कि यार ये तो कुछ अलग है, और फिर वहां एक डिस्कनेक्ट आएगा.
Absolutely. And you also teaching them acceptance.
जी.
You know, if you can love your own mother for her mistakes, you will love another woman too. And these are why see, people think that, you know, business is very separate from family life. But I'm here to tell you, how you conduct your family life is how you conduct your business.
True.
How you treat the females in your home, you will actually treat the females in your work. If you honor a feminine in your household, you will honor someone's opinion who is a female in your work. But if you can't play two roles, it's exhausting. So the dominant thing will come out. So I truly believe that everything starts from the home. And this is not something I had when I was 21. Believe me, I yelled at my kids. I probably smacked them as well. It's not that I'm sitting here telling you, oh, I just had this, I was awakened, you know. No, it was a journey of mistakes only, you know. And then I would watch my kids and I would ask them and I would share with them and I would say, I'm sorry, this is where I was weak. This is why it happened. And, you know, they would tell me, they would share with me, and we grew together. So that when my kids actually made mistakes, guess what happened? I was okay with it because we had a relationship of acceptance and loving unconditionally. And that is what authentic family should be about. That you can actually be who you are completely and still be loved. That is what I want to create. And you know that this concept goes out to the world. Once they have this establishment within the homes, then they can take it to schools, and they can go to the workplaces, you know, and they can honor who they are. So that's my take on authentic parenting. Now, I know things got a little bit serious. Now, let me, before we go further into the webinar, I wanted to tell you, like mentioned before, that, you know, lessons come in many ways. And I have actually had an amazing experience of having, you know, the Australian side and also the Indian side. Now, being married to Shikhar, I've fallen back into the Indian cultural side, and I'm living in India right now. So I'll introduce you to three members of my family. The first one is little Zarava. For the ones who were here a little bit earlier, you saw him. He was dressed up as Flash. He's the youngest, so he's 6. My eldest is 20, and Ria is 15. Now, you won't believe it that even though we were grown, little Zarava taught us many things about life. So when he was about 18 months, we saw that he had a big connect to animals. And, you know, I'm talking about animals from the tiniest creature to the biggest. And he would do anything and everything to save their lives. But we were not allowed to kill anything. He showed a lot of compassion. He would fight at school even if someone tried to kill an ant, and he would tell the teacher. And he really, really had this big regard for life and nature. And it, you know, flowed into Shikhar, it flowed into me and the girls. And now today, you know, if we as parents thought that, no, we know it all, don't be silly, that's just a little beetle that you're trying to save, you know, this whole transition of now we go and feed animals. We, you know, every week we go and feed animals. We go not even to feed, but, you know, sometimes we go just to hug them, just to make them feel love, to touch an animal and connect, right? I am telling you, if I was a closed parent today, I would not have been doing this today. So he started this whole thing off from a little beetle and a cockroach. He doesn't, and I learned that he didn't discriminate. He didn't consider a cockroach an ugly little creature and a pet dog, you know, a beautiful creature. He literally had, you know, that same love and care for all lives. And we have learned that. So Shikhar has also transformed a lot that way. Me and the girls all do. Now we rescue animals. Now we, you know, whatever we can do, like I said, go and hug an animal. Anything, it's come from little Zarava. Another thing I was telling Sharath, actually, he also taught me how to live in the moment. One time, Zarava and I were actually flying from Australia back to India, and we were actually 6 hours delayed on a flight, and I was so grumpy and irritated. So was Zarava in that moment. But the moment he saw his dad, finished, gone, no upset, no, and I was still like, you know, I was like, oh my God, I'm still angry. But in that moment, I took a step back and I thought, wow, what a way to live life. You know, he was angry, yes, 2 seconds ago, so he was authentic. He honored what he was feeling. But the moment happiness came, that didn't matter. And so, you know, as a parent, you can constantly learn. Like Amit said, the greatest teacher is your kids. I constantly learn from him. I watch him. I'm like, what a way. Imagine if you're working, that you have that sort of clarity that, yes, in this moment I was upset, but something else happened. I've moved on. Imagine you actually running a business from that point. So don't take these things very lightly. You know, people think, okay, it's really cute because the kids had taught. No, but you can apply this somewhere else in life. If you're having a discussion with someone and it's getting heated, you can actually take a little step back. You know, these are the things that I've applied in my own life now. Like, even if I'm talking with my kids and they upset me, I try and take that moment and sort of go into the next moment fresh. You know, so these are really good tools that your kids can actually help you with. Now, the next slide will be,
what
yeah.
Aisha, is that if we constantly look at our kids as our teachers, and
Yes.
we are always on the lookout for the next lesson, if we keep that mind open, wisdom will come to us in various forms, in various moments, in various situations.
Just watch them. They're never, how long do they hold a grudge? Not long.
Absolutely.
But expressive, right? This is what I want to explain to people. A lot of talk has been going on about being positive, positive, positive. Kids are positive, but they release their true self. So if Zarava's angry, he will actually let that out.
वो पूरी ईमानदारी से गुस्से होते हैं बच्चे, बिल्कुल ईमानदारी से,
but it's out.
100% गुस्सा होता है, कोई मिलावट नहीं. But then they're free.
Yes, and then they don't, and even if you're upset on them, that's the other thing. They allow you to be very upset on them, and they don't have a judgment. That's the difference between kids and us. We judge. I'm not saying don't have a reaction to something or don't. I'm just saying let it out authentically, then move on like kids do. If you watch kids, that's what they do. It's not like another kid will hit another kid. It's finished. You know, they move on to the next moment. So if you watch your kids, you learn a lot. You actually learn a lot. Next slide, Sharath, is going to be a funny one. That's Zarava with his little bugs. He loves animals. Okay, so.
That's an interesting one.
So for everybody, of course, my mother-in-law had to be in here. And definitely one of my teachers, I would say. But like I said, in a challenging way, which in a good way, still a good way. So when I first was married to Shikhar, here I become a very independent woman. I can express my no very openly, and I come in, and and this is another thing I want you guys to all know. You might think that I'm very different, or Shikhar and I live a very different life to everybody that's out there, that we don't face the same, cultural issues or ethnic issues, but we do. So Shikhar will, even though he's playing cricket, traveling the world, he could not say no to his parents. And I was shocked. I was like, what? And everything was hunji, 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 right? And and I was like, but you don't want to do that. And it was really funny. And he's like, but it makes them happy. So the good thing was, like, this was also a lesson. And I spoke to him about it. I said, okay, so understand one thing, whether you are only saying yes to them, you're only getting appreciated for your yes. Are you actually being appreciated for you? So then I started talking to him about that mindset. You've got to be true to yourself, and you're also limiting your parents, because if you're only saying yes to them, you're also not allowing for their growth. Don't ever think as a parent that your growth has been done because you became a parent. That's the start, right? Your kids are also put there to challenge you for your own growth even more. So why does it take, why does a man find it so hard to hear a no from a son? The ego gets involved. It's a great thing. It shows you where you're stuck. It shows you where you need to look, and it's an opportunity. So I always say to Shika, don't limit your own parents by thinking that they can't change. You should actually help them or be who you are so that they also can have their own growth. It's never too late. It's never too late to keep growing in parenting. So with Shikhar and his family, he actually, and the thing that would happen is he would also say Haji Haji to everybody, not just his parents. It became such a part of who he is. He couldn't say, and it was exhausting to him, actually. So he was feeling tired. He was sometimes feeling like he was people pleasing, but he didn't know how to get out of it, until I started to tell him that if you be authentic, if you be real, then guess what? The right type of people will also come into your life, and you will also be liked and honored for who you truly are, not just because you're doing something for someone. So this was a good lesson that I learned from my mother-in-law.
I want to ask you one question.
Yeah.
Generally when with our parents and our closer relatives, in our culture, when if you disagree or if you don't go the way they want you to go, it's considered disrespectful, and there is a certain guilt that comes into our hearts. So my first question is that how do you handle that? And secondly, a personal question: how is your relationship with your mother-in-law? Does she love you? This formula looks a little dangerous. So tell me, how has it worked out for you?
Sure. Okay, I'll answer the mother-in-law bit first. Honestly, at the start, there was resistance. This is what I want everyone to know. There was resistance because it was their mindset against my mindset, which is fine. But like I said, no judgment, because you can't see it in a judgment point of view, because that's her experience. This is my experience. There has to be a difference. Okay. So you have to come from that understanding. Now, what I explained was, it's very simple. Are you being appreciated for the yes, or are you being appreciated for being you? Once you establish that within yourself, you become more free to say no. And saying no, you don't have to say it rudely. You don't have to say it with force. You just say, I understand your feelings, but I'm not comfortable with it and I don't want to do that. And see, at the other end of it too, it is not my child's job to make me happy all the time, and it's not my job as a parent to make my child happy all the time. So that is natural. So don't ever feel sorry for someone and give in, because you're also, like I said, you're limiting them. It's okay to feel discomfort sometimes. It doesn't mean you love anyone any less. You know, if I go against my dad and mum, honestly, it does not mean that I don't love them any less. It's just I'm being true to who I am. And, you know, my parents will accept and love me whole because they'll allow me to be who I am. And it might take a little bit of going back and forward at the initial stages where they're also trying to let go of their ego. But eventually, no, a little bit of push and pull, it becomes easy. It's just, it's like a mechanical thing. It hasn't been done before. A little bit of creakiness is going to happen. Eventually, you know, one time you say no, two times they'll understand, okay, I'm preparing for this. I am accepting of my son or daughter saying no, daughter-in-law saying no. It's okay. It's not against me. It's just their free will. They don't want to do it. So, and that's understanding happens. But if you don't do it and then come, you know, 10 times no, it's going to be a shock. But I'm saying you can do it in a subtle manner. You can actually create that relationship, and it's a true relationship. That way she has the freedom to be who she is. You have the freedom to be you are. And it's honored. You know, it's honored. And I feel that's a healthier relationship. And I'll give you an example. So when I first came to, I think I told you this one, Sharon, I came to India. Shikhar was like, oh, you know, you should like help my parents serve a little bit. And I was like, but I don't want to. I don't want to. So, but if you come to my house, you know, I'll make you feel like a queen and I'll serve you. I don't want you to do anything. And, you know, I never did it because I was like, I want them to love me for me. I don't want them to appreciate me because I'm doing something like serving food or something. That is just a behavior thing. But I want them to even love me for me. So I set that standard, or I set that mark from day one, that I will appreciate you for you, you appreciate for me. And like I said, it can be done in a very nice manner. And eventually you have an authentic relationship all over again, where people are free to be who they are. So that's a really beautiful lesson that I learned from them. And yes,
And how's the relationship right now? How's it?
She loves me a lot.
So now that acceptance is there. That
Absolutely.
acceptance.
And I don't feel pressure. Honestly, I don't feel pressure from anyone, you know. And that too, I smile when I go to their house. That means when I go there, I'm not thinking, oh, I've got to do that. You know, it's no good for anyone when you're going with that sort of intention. At least I know I can hang out with her, I can talk with her, and I'm happy. And she also knows what my limits are, you know, and we have a nice relationship because of that. Internally, me washing the dishes in her house and hating her is not what I wanted. I wanted myself to be who I am and actually, you know, have a great time with her. That's how I saw it. Then the next person I wanted to introduce you to was my father. He, bless him, it's his birthday today. So
Wow.
yeah, it's his birthday today, and he's 82, right? And he's got one battle on his hand, and that's his daughter still. So he has been, I was a very bright student. So basically he's been on my back ever since about study. And if God could have given him one person to challenge him, it was me. And even though I was very good at studies, I actually quit going further into university and stuff. And I became a young mum. So even till now, he tells me, what have you done? What have you done? You know, and in a very, very respectful manner, I said to my dad that, Dad, look, I understand you value academics and everything, and so do I. But what I'm doing right now is my passion, my love. And I think that generation, I don't know how many times I've told my dad, he just does not understand it. I don't think he understands what passion and purpose is. So I honor that in him. But also I've told him that is something he has to deal with. That I will not do what he wants me to do because it makes him happy. I will do what I want to do because that is my soul's calling. So me and my dad have a very good understanding of that. Then he went on to my daughter because he thought, I didn't get the big one. I'm going to go to the next one. And he started on Aaliyah, who is very good in academics. And she also didn't go on to further education. She became a dog trainer, now rescues dogs, saves dogs, and, you know, like helps people find homes with dogs and all that stuff. And she started her own business.
Dog trainer in Australia?
Yeah. And so she started her own business and everything. So I'm supporting her with that.
Wow.
And so my dad was like, here we go, she's following your footsteps and blah, blah, blah. And like I said, so my dad has still got that typical, mindset of education and how, school structure and everything. And I respect that, because he thinks if you get something on a piece of paper in a diploma or something, then you have value. So that's just the way he sees it. But like I said, if I wasn't doing what I am doing today, I would be a miserable person. So my dad would never understand that. So it's not, it's no point explaining it to him, but I have honored who I am. And with my dad, same thing. I have let him know that, look, this is what I'm going to do. Now that I'm learning about parenting, I've done so many courses. I've invested in myself. I've done, not just on an academic level, on a spiritual level. I've done so much growing and learning that it didn't have to come through, going through the institution, that he thought. So these are the ways that you can actually learn, that yes, my dad was, like I say, he's in a dhoti there, he's in the ashram, we were all there. He's very staunch Bengali. But like I said, because I've got the other aspect of growing up in Australia, I was able to voice my own feelings and opinions and sort of establish myself, however, not disrespecting him as well. So they're the three people that
there's a question. There's a question.
Yep.
By a gentleman by the name Jugal Kishore. At least the iPad name is Jugal Kishore.
Yep.
The question is, when we say no at times to our children, does it not impact the thinking of our child?
But why are we considering no a bad word? So you got to think about it this way too. If your child wanted to say that, okay, I want to go and I wanted to watch an iPad all day for one whole week, are you going to just say yes?
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, hello.
Yeah, well, this is Kapil. I am Vihan's father, one of the students studying in Manam Rachna. So I somehow feel that this is what Indian parenting is all about. So we think that if we say no quite a couple of times, they may feel distant from us in terms of not getting that connection right with us and stop expressing themselves.
Okay, so do you have a kid?
Kid, yeah, son.
And how old is your son?
He's 8 years old.
Okay, so he's at a great age to understand. So the biggest mistake our parents do is that they say no without reason. The best thing you can do if you have to say no is first explain to them why. A lot of the times parents can't be bothered with the why because it takes time. It takes time for you to sit down, actually get them to give you attention and then explain to them. And another thing you can actually do is ask them, okay, these are the things. This is why I'm saying no. What is your feeling? What do you think? Now that you know this, what do you think? You ask them to be a part of their also boundaries. He's at a very good age. So what will happen is when you involve your child this way, you are teaching him his own boundary setting. So that say he's 15 and you're not around and you're not there to say no, his mind will go into that pattern of, okay, let me ask myself, what are the, what could happen? And am I willing to take the consequences? So you can start that practice from now. Very simple. Like he wants to eat junk food. Say he wants to eat junk food or he wants to watch iPad for so long. You can explain to him, iPad actually does this. It actually, impacts your eyesight. It's stopping your concentration. It's actually making you lazy. So, you can talk to him about this is why, because a child is not getting the why. And that's why they're thinking you're going just against what they're wanting. But if you spend a little bit of time, then they will actually reason with you and give them the opportunity to reason back. It's all about just, give them that time. And then you'll see, yep.
Sorry, go ahead, please, ma'am. Sorry.
No, then you will see that they will also be more connected to you.
And just to add on here, what, just Aisha was saying, Kapil, generally in our house, what happens whenever we say no to our child at home, say if I say no to my son, and my son, maybe, he'll not come and talk to me and he'll go back to his mom. Dad ne na bola, but maine karna hai.
Yeah.
The mom will say, ki, listen, son, Dad को नहीं अच्छा लगता तो तू मत कर. Please don't do it for him if he's not liking it. So then he'll again go back and he'll talk to my wife, he'll talk to Nisha, and he'll say, it is his problem if he's not liking it, but I want to do it.
Right.
So
True.
what Aisha was saying that, we as parents sometimes try to force our calculations in our decisions. So the critical evaluation or the research or evaluation is what is missing. When I see the Indian education system, our traditional system was more about cramming, learning and just writing down on the papers.
Yes.
So what you see today, which is happening in our futuristic schools, is that you have given them an option and opportunity to do research. After doing the research, checking on the facts, then do a critical analysis and then come on to decision. So you
Yes.
find a little one doing a decision. If I remember my childhood, we always wore those clothes which were given to us by our parents. Mom dad shopping करके लाते थे, हम वही पहनते थे. Today,
Right.
not possible. I am reminded of those days when we used to come back from our, maybe school or from some family get together anywhere. जैसे ही घर पहुंचते थे, we used to ask mom कि माँ घर में क्या बनाया है. You know, today's generation is when child enters the house, mom asks the child, बेटा क्या खाएगा?
Yes.
No, so this is a change.
Yes.
So they ask the child कि आज आपने क्या खाना है? हम घर में पूछते थे क्या बना है? So this is a change which is there, and maybe time is something which is the best gift what we can give to our kids here.
Yes.
And
And
I've
I'll give you an
seen,
example.
personally seen this during these times with my kiddos at home.
And I'll give you a little example. See, as the kids get older, the thing that they're going to test you with is going to also get bigger. So my eldest daughter actually said, it was end of school. They wanted to go and they wanted to do a little bit of poison the grass in the school. Amit, don't listen to this. They wanted to do some poisoning on the oval there. So I sat her down. I didn't say no to her. I said, okay, let me tell you, these are the consequences that could happen. Police could get involved. You'd get in trouble, da, 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 da. And I said it out. Now, it's on you whether you want to take that risk. I am okay with both, but understand if you get in trouble, I'm out of it. But you got to deal with it. So what happened is because I created a habit in her for her to self-assess from a young age, she took that night, she thought about it. The next morning, she said, oh, actually, the risk is not worth it. And I told her, if I was your age, I would have done it. So I was very real with her. I had that nature. So I said, that's good that you don't want to do it. I would have done it. So what it does, it sets her own boundaries so that even when you guys are not around and she's in a situation where people are doing drugs, people are smoking, she'll self-assess, or he will self-assess, sorry. And he'll be able to say, you know what, I don't want to do it because the thing is not worth it. The consequence is not worth it. So it's very important. And it's good that, things are changing. You can, like Amit said, like things are changing. Work with both sides. Saying yes sometimes is great. Saying no sometimes is great as well. How are they going to learn otherwise? But like Amit said as well, spend that time, ask them why. Why do they want to do that? Why does your son want to do that? Then explain to them what are the consequences. Then ask them for their opinion. It's just that nowadays we try and rush it and we just want to say no and move on. But a child, don't forget, a child just needs that little bit of time, and they do understand.
Interesting, very interesting. Another question that's coming, Aisha, Lalitji is asking. He's saying that in this competitive world, what role can authentic parenting play? Because it's a dog eat dog kind of a situation.
Okay. So I look at it very differently. If you see now, we're all online at the moment, so we could be having people from anywhere in the world that we can be connecting with. We're not limited anymore. We have to get out of that mindset that we're only stuck in India. What Indian people are good at is only IT and being doctorates and, all that stuff. We've got to stop that thinking. So I went for a presentation to Camellias. It was, the DLF Camellias. I went to a presentation and I was blown away. But the only thing was that, they had hired so many overseas people for lighting expert, for landscaping, for the gym, for, you know, for just for the spa area. And I thought, why are we not hiring Indian people? These guys will be paying big money to be bringing these people in and having their say, their expertise on it. It's because in India, we think that it's a dog eat dog world because, you know, it's because we only should get into certain streams of, you know, like doctors or engineers. But what I'm trying to show people, if you be authentic, an authentic gardener will create magic and create some, you know, remarkable piece of like landscape in relation to that gardener trying to be a doctor. I look at Shikhar, honestly, he's great at cricket. I imagine him now trying to be a doctor. Like, I would be scared, honestly. So it's not a dog eat dog world. If you allow that authentic gift to come out. You know, even my daughter being a dog trainer, she's such a great, you know, energy for dogs. She could never be a scientist. You know, her energy works with animals. So it's like she will be the best in her field because she's working with what she has a natural gift towards. Now, if someone is naturally gifted at being a landscaper, or a painter or a dancer, you guys have to understand one thing. This is why the education system, this is why I talk about, you know, wisdom, not just the education academic side. We are open to the world now, every one of us. Even if someone comes from not a well-to-do family, you have the internet. Every child has a phone. Every family has a phone. Your skills, your abilities, everything can be recorded now. People can see it. Your exposure is limitless. If you support your own kids doing what they are gifted in, what they're authentically gifted in, you don't even know the reach they can get. But if we suppress that and try and make them into something that they're not, they'll always struggle. Do you
even
think?
sometimes, ma'am, what happens, what we have seen personally, I'm a very frequent traveler to Asia Pacific. I have been to many countries. मैंने बहुत जगह देखा है कि हर country का definitely अलग culture होता है, and what you just started your session with, that we should not mix up, and because the kids will also get confused. You don't want to put them, you don't want to impose something on them, you know, forcefully. Let them be authentic, let them be true to themselves as well. So what I have seen कि मेरे दो बच्चे हैं, एक बेटा है, एक बेटी है. So what happens कि बेटे को समझाओ तो बेटी उसको समझती है, बेटी को समझाओ तो बेटा समझता है, and it's kind of a confliction कि किसको समझाना है, किस वे से समझाना है, and basically they both try to learn. So sometimes the age is also a matter कि what is the, like you said, the authenticity, आपको उसको सही समझाना है या कोई भी आप उनको अच्छी तरह समझाना चाहते हैं किसी भी बात को, तो एक age is also a factor. What is your experience? You have I've seen such a beautiful kids, young one to the elder one. So what you have seen, that what is the right age from a kid's perspective कि हमें उस एज में उनको इस तरह से मोटिवेट करना चाहिए, इस तरह से बात को समझाना चाहिए, और इस एज में हमें उस तरह की बातें नहीं समझानी चाहिए, उनको नहीं समझ में आता, बिकॉज किड्स हैव देयर ओन माइंडसेट that whatever they decided, today's world, they have decided whatever parents are saying, it's none of use. उन्होंने जो देखा है, जो समझ लिया, वो उनके दिमाग में बैठ गया. So how you think that we can explain?
Okay, so I'll tell you one thing. Never ever get your child to depend on you or the outside. The child should depend on themselves. So your job as a parent is also not to get them attached to your ways and also the outside. What you do is you empower the child itself. So what happened in this situation for my kids, and it takes every kid, like you said, your son is different, your daughter is different. That is the job of a parent, that they're not going to be parented in the same way. They're not. And this is why, you know, we have to understand parenting is not a small thing. It's a lifelong process. At least 20 years you have to be committed to. It's a commitment. If you plant a seed today, it becomes a tree only after 15, 20 years. How are we expecting that a human being is only going to need a little bit of input? What you do today, what you invest in today, how you nurture that soil, how much sunlight, how much water, then only you get a tree, right? So that is a tree. Imagine a human being. We have to invest in empowering the individual child, not as a brother or sister. No, individuality. That soul has come with its own gift, like I said. So what you will see is at the start, you will see that yes, you have to set boundaries which are healthy. You have to also, you never suppress that child. Even if you're setting boundaries, you explain why, right? Why? Then eventually they will start setting their own. They will, and don't ever fear challenges from your child. That's another thing parents do here, is resist challenge, right? If they challenge you, means they can challenge someone else, which is a great thing. If you stop them challenging you in your own home, guess what? They'll have fear to challenge someone else. Someone else will take that position in work. So when Shikhar came into my life, he obviously came into a situation where I already had two grown girls. And raised by me, they were very open, they were very expressive, and they would say what they felt. Now, at the very start, they challenged him. They said no to him. If they didn't want to do something, they say no. And he would say that thing, I'm their dad. Why they said no, right? So I said, but why shouldn't they say no to their dad? So I explained one thing beautiful to him. I said, if you as a father can teach your daughter to challenge you in your own home, no man will take advantage of them outside of this home.
Absolutely.
That's true.
That's
So never ever resist challenge from your own kid. It will grow them. If you really want to parent an empowered child, do it from being challenged by them. Let them test your, where else are they going to, if you don't allow them to test you, they're going to find someone else outside of your house to test. Why do you think kids go outside of the home? Because they can't express who they are within the home. Your home should be a place for the growth of that child, not for you to control that child.
great. Ma'am, one small question, as Mr. Amit Bhalla is also here, being a very, a motivator for everybody and running such a great institution. So what I have seen, a very quick, very generic question to everybody, every parents, that the kids always have some distinction between the parents and the teachers. They listen to the teachers very, very carefully. Teacher, whatever say, okay, you have to wake up 6 in the morning, you have to eat 7 in the morning, you have to do exercise. They will follow. But it doesn't matter at all if the parent does the same thing. You have to wake up at 6 o'clock. No, you have to eat it never. So what do you think from your experience? What drives them to think about this?
Okay, so for me, it's about accountability. At school, they're accountable. If they don't get up and they don't do this work, there's accountability. So they are given responsibility. At home, accountability and responsibility are not bad things. You should actually give your kids accountability. Means that in order to get this or do this, you need to do this first. And it's not bad because it teaches them responsibility. So my two daughters, like I said to you, live overseas. If they didn't have accountability, they didn't know to get up on time. And if I didn't create that habit in them, how would they now be living overseas alone? So you have to create independent children. Don't look at a child and feel sorry for them. Don't pamper them to the point, oh, they're only little. No, they are open to this. So little ways of like giving them responsibility. Kids love responsibility. My son, if I said, you've got to go water those plants, he gets up every morning to water those plants. They actually look forward to it, but you can start these habits from a very young age. As they get older, like I said, if you are still going to give your son breakfast in bed and he's 13, that's your fault. If he wants to eat and he hasn't got out of bed, then he has to make his own food. He can be in bed, but it means no one cooks for him. He has to actually get up later on and make his own food. There's a consequence. And it's not a harsh one. You're not being mean. You're okay with it. And that's the other thing. I'm not judging that he's in bed. I'm just like, okay, I'm just not going to cook for you and give you, that comfort of you doing what you want, because there is a process. There is something that we have to do. We have to, have breakfast at this time. So it's like you have to parent from a place of what is helping that child, not hindering that child.
Yeah, just to add what Lalit's question was, Aisha, we as when we see the Indian family system, we always have been groomed and trained and have been prepared to understand log kya kahenge. So whenever you go out, why they listen to a teacher? Because we have always tuned into their head that, I don't want to listen anything from a teacher. I don't want any complaint from a teacher. But as a parent, we are okay. If we have any complaints, we accept it. But once you tell them that there is, somebody who is coming from outside, I want you to behave. So that fine day, you will see that child is, totally in a very, very different format when he sees somebody who is coming from outside. So
Even
the real self is something which we need to develop, and there is nothing wrong in it. We got like this whenever there was some guest who was expected in the house. So I still remember my mom. She used to call me. She says, just comb your hair. Somebody's coming at your house. So they never trained me that I should always look neat and clean. So they said, okay, आज बाहर से मेहमान आने, you have to look fantastic. So like a nice t-shirt and my hair combed and everything. So the real sense is empowering. So when I see the current scenario, I totally believe that maybe chapter 4 of physics or chapter 10 of English, I don't think that will make somebody as a leader tomorrow.
Thank
But definitely what will make him a leader, the entire process through which he goes. And today when you see two kids studying together, why you send a child to a school? Because they meet people from different background, they learn from different exposures, they learn different family values which come through those kids. So if I have seen a lot of things which have been adopted and learned by my younger daughter from her elder brother.
you.
So we thought of starting some concept of peer-to-peer learning across our schools. So just imagine grade 1, 2, and 3 kids, they are studying together.
Absolutely.
4, 5, 6 sitting and study together.
Love that.
So empowering kids is one. Second is believing themselves. They should start believing themselves. We should give them that skill set of evaluating, that critical thinking is what they should do. Not an easy task. जितना बोलना आसान लग रहा है ना ये सब ना, हमारे अपने घर में 2 बच्चे हैं. I am telling you, it is difficult to groom those 2 kids, and it is very easy to run 10 schools.
no ma'am, as you said that कि आज क्या रहता है, अच्छा बच्चे बेटा खाना खा ले बैठ, तो एक वट यू सी इन इंडियन कल्चर सर, जो आपने भी बोला कि एक जगह जो फादर होते हैं वो बड़े स्ट्रिक्ट होते हैं, मदर बड़ा सॉफ्ट, अरे कोई, एंड देन दादा दादी, अरे कोई बात नहीं, छोटा बच्चा है उसको दे दो, कोई बात नहीं. तो दैट हैबिट आपके घर में क्या है मैम, शिखर मैम सर के और आपकी मदर इन लॉ के बीच में ऐसा कुछ है बच्चों को लेके?
I had that too. Shikhar's family is a very, very staunch Punjabi family. And I made one rule. I said, when I'm disciplining my kids, no one gets involved. They had their shot at raising you. This is my turn. So I said, and I don't also get involved when they're having their own relationship. So it's a mutual respect. So when they're having their fun, I do not have a say in that. That's their own relationship. But then when I'm disciplining my kid, when I'm trying to establish good behaviors, good patterns, no one gets involved. And being a soft mum doesn't mean that that's the appropriate way to be a mum. We have this concept, this visualization that mums are only soft and they're caring and they should only be loving. They should never. No, my mum was a working mum. She didn't stay home, but she taught me how to be self-sufficient. She taught me independence. She taught me how to stand up for myself, how to voice my own opinion, not to feel bad, to express who I am. That is also a loving mum.
Absolutely.
So it's very important we don't get into this mold of what a mum is, right? A mum or a dad. It's not about a mum or a dad. It's that you guys work together to create empowered future generations. And what are the things you need for that? See, a lot of the times the mum will take her own self-worth because of the child giving her softness. So she knows if her beta will come and give her a cuddle, she feels good. So she doesn't want to say no. That is not empowering that child. That is soothing herself. So this is awareness. This is a mindset. Do I want to create a child who's dependent, or do I want to create a child who's empowered? That is a distinction as a parent you must make. And we as an Indian nation, honestly speaking, we are bright, we're amazing. We have everything, but we can't lead because our family structure hasn't allowed us to learn how to lead yet, right? But if we take this, because we are so talented. We are gifted. You know, so many smart kids. All we need to do is empower them so that they can become leaders. And if it means a parent feels a little bit of discomfort, a little bit challenged, so be it. You know, it's okay. Your job, a lioness doesn't take her cubs out going, please, I just don't want you to fall in that ditch and I don't want you to cut your paw. A lioness shows how to hunt. A lioness shows how to protect themselves. Then a lioness leads.
Fantastic. Aisha, lots of questions are pouring in and we are, we've already exceeded the time. So with Amitji's permission, we'll just take 10 more minutes and quickly wrap up this.
Sure.
Thing. So what I'll request, Aisha, is that since there are so many questions, I'll just start, telling the questions and you'll need to keep the answers a little short.
Okay, cool.
Otherwise, it'll disappoint a lot of people. And there's some really interesting questions.
Done.
So that's my challenge to you.
Okay, done. You know women talk a lot, right?
Yeah. No, we're loving it. Totally loving it. So Mamta ji has a question, and in a way you've answered it, but still if you could just elaborate that how can one foster right values when there are multiple sets of opinions in a typical Indian house?
Okay, so like I said, between the father and the mother, understand that you are the core of your child's sort of who your child is going to listen to mostly. You're the foundation of your child's upbringing. Okay, you must explain to other people. This is a great way to do it. You can create a supporting system. You can say to the grandparents, look, I understand that you feel this, but I'm actually trying to, give this child good values, beliefs, and all this. This is what I'm doing. This is why I'm doing it. So you can explain to the, grandparents or whoever that is living with you. Also, allow them to have separate times with them, so they don't feel like they're not, having their time or they're missing out on something. So, maybe the grandparent plays the music or reads a book. You allow your child to go and spend good time with them. But say when I'm doing these things, when I'm teaching myself, it is actually to empower my child. It's got nothing to do with, being mean to them or whatever. So I think it's just more about educating the people in the house too. Let's work together to empower our child. Let's not look for our own self, what feels good for us, and that's what we're going to do. Let's work as a team, like a tribe, to like empower that child. And each person can have a role. Someone can go and play cricket with their boy, and someone can do a reading with the boy, someone can do cooking in their kitchen so you can establish like a role play, and everybody is empowered. And then you can say, when I'm disciplining, please everybody just know that this is why I'm doing it and allow me to do it. Is that good enough?
Fantastic. Super. DKR is the display name. The question is, how do you reason with a 2-year-old child? It's actually Deepika who's asked the question.
Okay, so when I had Zarava was 2, and they're quite expressive. The thing that I learned is never feel embarrassed. So a lot of the times kids will react outside of the house. They'll throw a tantrum, and the parent sort of cowers, and they're so worried what other people are going to think, and they stop their parenting in that moment. And that kid picks up very fast. Right, I know your weak point. I will do this when people are around. I will do this when we're outside. The best thing you can do, even with a 2-year-old, to reason is actually hold yourself centered. And you stay calm, don't react. You don't have to yell, you don't have to do what you need to do. If that kid wants something and you don't want that kid to have it, take that off it, center yourself, let that kid run its course, let it scream, let it do whatever. You have no reaction. What that kid will learn very soon is that, okay, I'm not getting a response from this person. She's not doing what I want her to do. And eventually what will happen is that reaction time, because at that very early stage, it's a reaction, response between the kid and the mother. They won't understand logic. They're only feeding back off what you're reacting to. So if they seeing you are reacting, they're going to actually keep going. So you, no matter where you are, whether you're outside, we're at someone's house, restaurant, you center yourself and you hold true to what you're trying to do. Technically, you have to actually, I have done this. I've picked up my child, right? And that's the thing, 2-year-olds follow through. must be very good with follow through. If I'm even enjoying a very nice evening dinner with someone and my child is reacting, I will pick up that child, I will go in the car, we will go home, that kid goes to bed. Yes, I miss out too, but guess what? I'll have to do that 3 times and it's set for life. That behavior is not going to happen again. It's the follow through. The kid needs to know that, okay, I can't get away with this behavior.
Super, fantastic. Radhika's question is, in the times of this pandemic, how do you manage kids' expectations? Because there's no outdoor activity, no weekend fun. So any tips you want to share?
Okay, so no one's going outside, like no one's allowed to go outside at all?
No, ma'am.
A lot of people are avoiding that, and especially in in areas where there is a lot of fear and the hotspots, people are avoiding it. So,
So Radhika, have you got any space at all?
some
do
people
have
have,
space.
some people don't. Radhika?
Yeah, we are managing certain indoor games with the kids. But again, when we are talking about this coronavirus, we are talking about our psychology, that we are bounded in the home. But what about the kids? When this is the age, like my daughter is 9 years old, she's in grade 4. So how do we, manage their expectations? How do we manage the psychology, the stress levels? Ki mama bahar jana hai, we want to go out.
Okay, so I'll tell you one thing. Now, if this kid was born somewhere where they didn't have much space, they didn't have the facilities we do, they would not have any issue, right? So what happens is, as a parent, what I've done with my 6-year-old too, right? So he's come from a home in Australia where he had his own lawn, he had his own space, he could do whatever, he had freedom, even if in COVID, even in the house, he had his own space. Now I've come into an apartment where we weren't even allowed downstairs. The first thing I did was I didn't make that a big deal. Because if I made an issue of it, then he's going to pick up that there's something wrong with this picture. So the first thing I did is actually turn my house. I created my dining table turned into a table tennis. My couch and stuff became an obstacle course. Right? Truly, I tried and get a lot of activities, creative stuff, and had it. And I'll tell you one other thing. We don't need to stimulate our kids all the time. My kid, I don't stimulate him all the time. He builds his own cubby houses. He searches for insects in the corners of the house. He's going outside catching a lizard. What I'm saying is, kids will find things to do. Don't create panic within them that this situation is something wrong with it. Zarava knows that there is a virus and that we have been told by the government who monitors the country that we are to stay mostly indoors because so that we don't get sick. End of story. But he doesn't know that we're struggling not to go out. We can't use this. We can't do that, because it is you feeding them that there's something wrong in this situation that makes them believe there's something wrong in this situation. So what you have to do is create an environment within your house and whatever the facilities you have where they can just live their normal life. And like I said, you don't need to stimulate your kids. And I'm not talking about iPad. Take the iPad off them. Let them be bored. You know what, in this, especially in India, what I've noticed too is that parents don't allow children to feel boredom, right? We're constantly stimulating the mind. Kids have lost the essence of concentration. Kids don't know how to sit still. Kids don't know how to not get a, straight away result. Kids don't know how to wait. We're losing these things as well because we're not allowing our kids to just be. I remember being bored. That's when I was doing the most creative things. That's when I would make a house out of a chair. That's when I would go find something. Then I, get a doll and play. You got to understand, like, this is a great time to actually reset and go back to that. So don't look at it as in this is a problem. Look at it as it like, how can I reset? How can I reset and, get the mind to sit still, get my child to actually sit in one spot for a little bit without stimulation. Let them be bored. Let them sit in that room and have nothing to do and look at the ceiling. There's nothing wrong with that.
Great.
And for that, we'll have to be, a role model ourselves.
Absolutely. That's my point. You cannot, this is what it is. And the more you fight reality, the more you get discomforted.
Sometimes I spend some time, sitting in my lawn alone. So
Yes.
no cup of tea, nothing, just sitting alone and watching a plant. So one fine day I saw my son and he came and he was, talking to his mother. He says, ki, Mom, dad is getting older. What do you say that? He's just sitting and watching trees and watching plants. After a few days, I told him, I said, son, why don't you come and sit here and let us just watch this plant. So he came and sat with me. It was difficult for me to make him sit for more than 1 minute there. After a few days, he was early morning. He started to go for a jog and a run. Then I came back and I saw him sitting in the lawn and watching the same tree which I was watching. After a few days. So then I saw him. I said, Shorey, what are you looking at? He says, कि Dad, मैं ये देख रहा था कि आप इसमें ढूंढ क्या रहे थे?
Absolutely. See, and that actually sparked his curiosity.
Yep.
And this is what we're missing, that we think we constantly have to entertain our kids. No, we don't. We actually don't. We need space. They need space.
So a lot of questions are remaining. So what I will now do is that I'll make sure that Aesha answers all these questions, and Aesha would request you to send a voice note as an answer to all the remaining questions, because we've already we've already overshot our limit by about 20-25 minutes. but I think that's been the beauty of your engaging ideas and thoughts, that we are raring to go and we are raring for to have more conversations. So Amitji, I think we need to have more of this, because this has been a really engaging session with Aesha.
Yeah, we can definitely, and let every participant, maybe revert back to Nindya ji on an email or maybe a message that what is it that you expect from Manav Rachna, as an institution where we try to learn together, because parenting is one thing which is like a part of lifelong learning. It can never end. Today we have to learn how to be a good parent. Tomorrow maybe we'll have to learn how to be a good grandparent.
That's true.
It will continue. It will continue.
Absolutely.
It will continue. I still remember when I was making my house, so I created one small one guest room on the ground floor. So one fine day when I was showing the drawings to my dad and discussing with him, so he says कि बेटा इस कमरे को ना थोड़ा सा और बड़ा बना लो. So I said कि डैड ठीक है गेस्ट रूम के हिसाब से इतना है. कह रहा कुछ नहीं पता इस गेस्ट रूम में कल को तुम्हें ही रहना पड़ जाए. So then he said कि when your kids will grow older, they will occupy the first floor. So eventually when you and your wife will be, will there. So I still remember he said कि जब तुम बुड्ढा और बुड्ढी रह जाओगे तो तुम्हारे कमरे में रहना पड़ेगा. It is a hard fact. It is a hard fact. Gradually you move like this. So you have seen your families, you have seen everything happening like that. So some interesting lessons of life is what we have learned with our parents, with our family, with our friends, with our schools, with our teachers. So I think we can continue certain things like this, where we talk how to be a good parent and maybe some general topics about life. So that is what we can. It has nothing to do with our, maybe institutions or to our business. It's nothing to do like that. It's just about creating a platform where we sit, where we talk. आज सबसे डिफिकल्ट ये होता है कहीं पे कोई ऐसे लोग नहीं मिलते जिनसे दो बात आप दिल की कर सकते हो.
वही बात है. ये बात बिल्कुल सही है.
जब मेरी शरद से बात हुई, आयशा से बात हुई, we connected so well. We said कि come on, let's grow up this community where we can sit, where we can talk, where we can discuss. कभी कोई situation ऐसी होती है समझ नहीं आता किससे discuss करें. And you spend some 10-15 years finding an answer for the same question which hits you every day in your mind.
Yes.
Absolutely. ये बात बिल्कुल ठीक बोली.
कोई ऐसा नहीं मिलता जो हमारा सीक्रेट भी रख सकता हो. कोई ऐसा नहीं मिलता जो अपना एक्सपीरियंस ओपनली शेयर भी कर सकता हो. So this is the basic idea behind it. So maybe let us get some feedback from everyone, Sharad, and then we can structure it out. Maybe we can
Absolutely.
fix it.
And I feel like now that everyone sort of has known us, we can create like specific topics. At least they've introduced to all of us, and they understand, our mindset, how we're thinking, and what direction we want to take this. So it's good, and so they can have an input in, okay, what should we discuss specifically, what we can work on specifically, and it'll be great empowering community. I feel like if a parent, we all sort of help each other and, parent from a place of courage and authenticity, it will truly, truly change that next generation. Truly.
So we can pick up a nice, interesting topic. You know, maybe like food is one thing which everybody connects well at home. How do you handle that at your home with your
Yeah, I know.
That's a
Junk food
I
and
think
healthy food
it's
debate.
how to do that. Today, a child doesn't want to eat what you want him to eat. So
Yeah.
it's better that you sit, talk to him or her, and all of you agree with that. Like some very very difficult questions are being put up by our kids. You know, one fine day, my little one, when she was 6, she just came and said, "Ki, Dad, when will be I allowed to drink wine?" She was 6 years old. I had no answer at that time. You know, I had no answer at that time. So my son, he said, "I want to learn driving." I said, "But you can't do it. You are not at that right age." "Yeah, but you were doing it. You were driving when you were in grade 6. Dadu told me that." I said, "No, उस time होता था, but आज नहीं हो सकता." So how do you justify it?
That's true.
आपने खुद किया और मुझे क्यों रोक रहे हो?
Mm.
तो ऐसी कुछ
This
situations
is
है.
a really good point that you brought up. That is why it's all about representing what you want your kids to actually, you know, learn. Is that you be it first. It's
Yes.
a very good point. Learning happens more from what they watch. You know, absolutely.
Fantastic. I think so. It was an amazing session. बहुत मजा आया. And सबसे बड़ी बात ये है, बहुत ही जैसे आयशा आपने जो बात कही, authentic. You know, the thing that I actually am taking home. ये discussion भी बहुत authentic था. It was free flowing. It was coming from the heart. I think the questions were very thoughtful, insightful, thought provoking. Your answers were very spontaneous and natural. एंड ऐसा लगा कि कुछ सीखा आज नया, कोई एक अंदर से कुछ आपने धूल झाड़ दी हमारे अंदर से.
आइस ब्रेकिंग हो गई है अब. आज हम घर में इसके बारे में डिस्कशन होएगी.
होएगी, बिल्कुल होएगी.
तो डाइनिंग टेबल पे हो पर होएगी जरूर.
पक्का होगी. So this I think is a great start. And वापस लौट के इसको स्ट्रक्चर करके और इसको इंटरेस्टिंग बनाकर टॉपिक्स जैसे अमित ने कहा लेके आते हैं. मीनवाइल अमित जी, यही रिक्वेस्ट होगी कि from the community of parents, the ones who have already attended it, and from the larger community, अगर कोई फीडबैक, कोई क्वेश्चंस आ जाएं तो और वो हेल्प करेगी. We've already got some questions. ये जो क्वेश्चंस आए हैं आयशा, उनके आप पर्सनल हम वॉइस नोट्स भेज देंगे. We'll just facilitate that, you know, ताकि जितने भी लोग हैं, आपके बहुत अच्छे questions हैं, and I'm feeling bad that you know, we couldn't address it, but Aisha would be more than happy to do this. So
And I can also see some suggestions which have come, Sharad, on what should be our topic for next discussions.
oh, fantastic.
Just
So
send that email and we will create a list which can be discussed in our next session. I think India can be the coordinator for this information. And then we'll pick up that topic and we will share our experiences. अभी तो maximum लोग listening mode में थे. Next session को ज़्यादा interactive बनाएंगे, where you know we can learn from our experiences.
And maybe एक चीज हर किसी को बतानी कि उनके बच्चों से उन्होंने क्या सीखा. That will be very interesting.
Yeah, that is beautiful.
हाँ, ये तो बहुत important और अच्छा काम है. I learned from my son how to pack my bag.
अच्छा.
My daughter, she taught me how to tie laces. I always used to tie that single knot. तो मेरे को वो double knot जो flower बनता है वो बनाना सिखाया.
Amazing.
That was a nice session, I guess, and let's plan something soon again.
Absolutely. So Amit ji, thank you so much. Aisha, thank you so much. All the parents, thank you so much for being such a wonderful audience and such amazing questions. Nindya ji, thank you so much. फिर से मुलाकात होगी. Really looking forward to this.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you. Namaskar. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.